Welcome, Freedom Soul Network family. I'm Miriam Gomez, and today we have Susan Schroeder, and she's going to be guiding us through sit, breathe, receive, going to the basics, yet learning them and meditating together so that we can build a consistent practice, which is really important for me and this group. All right, let's just dive right in. Okay, here comes Susan.
Namaste, my friends. Thank you, Miriam. Thank you, Freedom Cell Network and Greater Reset community. It's an honor to be here with you and to share space in my sacred little temple. I find it right next to my dirty laundry. As much as possible, creating a consistent space for you, for your home practice, for your spiritual space where you actually accrue interest in your heart's bank account, in the capacity that you have to stock up on good juju, good vibes. This is the space that we're practicing, that we're creating, that we're cultivating on an individual level. That's where it has to start. But the impact and the continuous ripple effect is on a collective, where we ourselves are actively contributing to the ascension process of humanity. It's no small thing. Here we are on a Sunday morning, just lining up to help the planet and to help the evolutionary process of our destiny. I'm Susan Schroeder, and I've been in this mindset, in this journey of self-discovery for over 20 years. From the yogic background of my childhood, really starting to get into my body and feel what it means to be alive from a young age, my natural unfolding became really just to continue to ask questions, to be curious, to keep searching for that sense of oneness, that sense of completion and integration through everything I do. So I've lived a very dedicated life as a student, first and foremost, reaching and seeking and learning as many modalities and systems and all of the approaches to really learn myself. And here I come to you humbly from a place of still learning. I have developed my own company. I've been working as a teacher for so long, as my lifelong career really is committed and devoted to my studentship, and then to be able to share what I find out, what I discover. I am the founder of Village Well, and it really is an online focused community that offers in-person events from time to time that give us access to the center of us, the core, the deepest reality through movement. It looks like yoga, it looks like active dynamic athleticism, it looks like meditation. The spectrum is quite wide, but the approach is always with the same result, the same end game, to take a daily journey to source, to the source of you, the wisdom, the love, the creatorship that is your essence and that no one else can witness, that no one else can experience, that no one else can receive. There's messages, there's signals, there's a transmission that is meant just for you. And every single time you, as a student of your own life, sit down next to whatever is in your home and create the committed space to be just as you are and learn from who that is, that big picture you, that capital S self is constantly trying to communicate with you. And when you learn to sit down, step one, put out all of the distractions, the natural unfolding of the guidance that is meant for you will start to flow. Patience is definitely a virtue. The ability to allow yourself to fumble, to learn, to be confused, to be distracted. For no matter how long you've been practicing meditation, once or for 10 years, you're going to meet blocks. That's in fact a sign when you meet those resistances, those places inside of you that would rather look away, that would rather find something else to distract you. All of those are meant to be the signs that you're moving forward and about to break through. Now, there's a lot of ways that the breakdown in communication with ourself keeps us from meeting that whole integrated aspect of our spirit. There's breakdowns in physical pain, in emotional trauma, and in mental patterns that loop us over and over again in our personal experience of Groundhog Day. Those mini breakdowns are actually turning into excuses or justifications or many reasons why we can't move ourselves forward. We're unable to meditate. Or it's, this famous line that every yoga teacher hears in her career: I can't do yoga, I'm not flexible enough. I can't meditate, my mind is crazy. If you slow down just a little bit, you understand that those 2 points are the exact reason why meditation or yoga or movement, anything that allows those breakdowns to move into breakthroughs, that's really the evidence that you're moving in the right direction. Meeting those places where you find all of the reasons why you can't, noticing the places where you defend your own personal limitations, that's where you start to mature spiritually and allow your practice to unfold. So today, as we give ourselves the space exactly where you are to sit, breathe, and receive, we'll go into 3 sections of this opportunity to get quiet, go inward. But we first have to start with the most basics. The simplicity of sitting, breathing, and receiving is something that we can intellectually learn very quickly. But the daily application of it is where the magic comes. It doesn't have to be overly complex. Try to simplify. Try to allow yourself to go to those very basic actions and then be the witness to all that messaging that is meant just for you. So let's start with sitting. When you come to your practice, if you can't get into a comfortable position, the ability to surrender yourself and let go a little bit of any sort of controlling in the outside world is quite challenging, because that knee is going to keep talking to you, or your spine, your low back, your neck is going to be constantly throbbing or talking to you in a way that's distracting. So if you have, first of all, any issues in your knees or your hips, and even in your low back, I highly encourage you to start in a chair. Give yourself a space where the chair has a supportive back, where you can send your hips really far behind you so that your base, your pedestal, underneath your spine is very supportive. If you can put your feet flat on the floor while you're sitting in that chair, even better. Toe tips down is a really amazing energetic seal that allows you to feel more grounded and foundationally supported while you're sitting, even if you're off the floor. Now, if you can get down to the floor, kudos, keep it up. Try not to let that action go. If you don't use it, you lose it. But to be able to drop down and sit on the earth is extremely powerful. But you don't have to sit straight on the floor. You can find a meditation cushion or 2 or 3. You can stack up blankets. You can use blocks, put a blanket on top. Get creative. You can sit on your heels, or you can sit crisscross applesauce like I am here. And I want to give you one little aspect that you can start to feel into your foundation, your physical basin of your pelvic bowl, the very bottom of your spine, your seat, and how as you align that, the ability to sit actually becomes more effortless. It takes time, it takes practice. I know that's a big promise to say effortless when it comes to pain or to move through anything that may be a physical limitation. But with your alignment, with your pelvic bowl in a situated place that's open, that connects you to the earth's support, you'll actually start to find the spine itself suspends upward. It starts to float. You actually feel light, almost free, almost bubbly and airy as you start to open up to this space inside of your body. Now, this is very important. When we start to talk about this ascension process from 3D to 4D to 5D, which I'll keep talking about throughout this morning's practice, but just let yourself consider that not only are you a physical being of muscle and bone, but maybe even more so, you are a spiritual being of space and light. So it makes sense that in order to access those spacious parts of yourself, those very wide open energetic potentials that live beneath the physical surface, you want to align yourself to set up for success. Give the body space on the inside for then energy to start to flow again, releasing blockages, releasing any breakdowns that may be cutting you off from your center. So let's start with the pelvis. One way to create a little more space in your seat, believe it or not, is to actually make your knees a little more narrow to then widen the base of your pelvis or your hips. So if you're sitting in a chair, you can do this just the same. Or if you're sitting down like me, lift one knee up, pull it towards the center of your body. That's the knee narrowing. And watch, like a seesaw, the top of your hip widens. Now I put my hand on my own butt. I really encourage you to get used to touching all of the tissues of your body because that's where your issues live, right? They get lodged, those issues in your tissues. So when we mold them and massage them, they actually start to flow again, start to move. So you narrow your knee in, and as you move the flesh of your butt back and wide, the knee will actually set and rest closer to the floor. There's more space in the front of your hip joint. Do it once or twice. Bring the knee in, pull it close, and then widen the hips out from underneath you. Every so often, switch the foot that's in front or on top. And anytime you need more space, think about not rolling backward, which tends to be how we sit on the couch or watching Netflix or even in our car, just the ergonomics of the way many seats are designed. We tend to roll backward and rock onto our tailbone, which is actually not meant to be weight bearing. When we rock forward, we start to triangulate the base of our pelvis. The actual floor widens and it opens up our connection to earth much more honestly. It's a sincere downward flow. The apana vayu in the yogic tradition is the winds and the digestive forces that flow down and out. Oftentimes in our fear-based society where we're in constant threat, constant defense mode, constant fight, just to protect our own well-being and to survive, we tend to pull ourselves in and close. If we come to a meditation posture very seated and closed, there can't be an exchange, a movement, a flow of energy from earth to sky and back again. So we rock ourselves forward, which creates a little more of this presence, right? You're present, you're allowing yourself to be very alive and then opening your personal channel to the messages that are meant for you. Now, once you're opening your pelvic floor, you want to make sure that your spine itself is quite agile and free as opposed to static and stuck. Feeling that contraction heaviness can keep you stuck in the pain body where you're not able to let go in your meditation. So I challenge you with one exercise that you can do in your car, you can do at work, you can do, and nobody even knows you're doing it. And it's to create movement in a figure eight pattern in 3 areas of the body. So this is all setting us up to sit, to be able to breathe with more openness, with more 5th dimensional expansion in order for the messages to be received. So the first way is the easiest. Start to move your head on its neck in a figure 8 shape. Not a big deal. Down, wide, and then crossing midline as you go down the other direction and out. And just feeling, you can close your eyes, the movement of your head on its neck. It's like you're starting to separate and articulate the skull from the cervical spine, separating those areas so that they all get to move independently. Try to go the other figure 8 direction. Sometimes that makes your forehead wrinkle. Try to keep the face relaxed and soft. And while you're doing these figure 8 movements, you're actually balancing the hemispheres of the brain. You're working with the central nervous system, and you're sending a message which may feel a little staccato. You might have to think a little bit on which way is right, which way is left, to even go back and forth through different directions. It's a good practice for your central nervous system. Okay, now stretch your arms out to your knees and take that same figure 8 movement to your ribs. Side, back, and cross to the front, to the side, and to the back. And really feeling, it doesn't have to be perfect, of course, but the ability to move and unlodge and separate and pull these areas of your body apart, especially these 3 spherical areas. We'll get into the hips next. Just start to notice, where is there lack of motion? Where is there stickiness? Figure 8s in both directions, again, help to bring balance to the 2 halves of the body where there's likely asymmetry across left to right or front to back. Most of us have energy that gets lodged, and then we walk around like this thinking this is normal, this is aligned balance, right? That's a little extreme, but we all have those left to right, front to back asymmetries that when you start to work with these undulations, these movements crossing midline, they help break those energies up, again, allowing movement and energy to flow. Now, it's a little bit hard because you're sitting. Let's make sure your pelvic floor is wide, the base of your seat is broad, and then start to rock and roll on your pelvis like a figure 8. Rock forward and back, wide in all the directions. And really, again, there's not a really right or wrong way to do this, other than to explore the range of motion or lack thereof that your body may have today. Now, if you're feeling like it's really hard to do that sitting down, you can always stand up, put your hands on your knees, and do the same thing. Big figure 8 patterns in your pelvis. Try to go in both directions. Figure 8s in the ribs and in the head. And while you're doing that, you're actively starting to be witness to what center is. It's a very nebulous place, this idea of center. It's sometimes very hard to access. So with a twist or with a crossing midline movement, it really helps to balance out that central nervous system for you to feel what is in between the right and the left. What is that space between the front and the back? Where is that core of you between the earth and sky? And as you start to think about all of those 6 directions, right, left, up, down, front, back, and then the 7th one, in, center, you really start to open up to the expansiveness of your 5th dimensional body, the body that exists outside of the physical, the energetics, the auric field, the spiritual bubble, your toroidal energy around you, which we'll talk about here in a moment. A little bit more ways to make space. We started with the hips, we moved along the spine. Is it the other 4 corners, or the other 2 corners of the body? So I call the 4 corners of the body the hips and the shoulders. Now, it doesn't seem like you would have to align your shoulders very much when you're sitting, but in fact, the more your shoulders are collapsed and the ribs start to get small, the heavier and heavier your posture gets, which makes it harder and harder to sit for longer periods of time. Now, in our first meditation, we're not going to sit for very long, but the idea is to not push through the pain simply because you want to get to 5 minutes. The idea is to set yourself up for success in a way that makes sense for your body today, and then build up your stamina and endurance for a little bit longer lengths of time. But if you're doing that and your shoulder is dropping or your ribs are getting smaller, it's probably going to perpetuate any habits or patterns you have in your body that aren't allowing energy to flow. So how do you get your ribs to feel bigger and buoyant? Can you imagine the central heart of you, the core of your body, like a hot air balloon? Well, the more you expand, opening your arms out, imagine as you reach your arms out in front of you, a little bit out to the sides as well, imagine yourself reaching to the cosmos, and at the same time, cosmic hands reaching down to meet you. When you build that partnership with cosmic hands, everything changes. There's the support of the universe anywhere you go. Then when you know to reach out and then receive, we'll get there. Just imagine this as a daily practice where your arms go overhead and you open the heart by actively pushing to find more space around your lungs, around your shoulder, around your heart. These vital organs inside of your body can get really sticky within the rib cage the less and less space you make, or the heavier your body gets as you age. This, in my opinion, arms up, victorious, reaching pose or posture is one of the most powerful things we can do every single day. Imagine just standing out your front door in the morning and greeting the day with such a joyous expression, a posture that's ready to receive. It's not that you want to bring your arms back too much or just kind of collapse inside and push your arms forward. There's an alignment that comes from the inside out through all of your fingers and your digits that allow you to be very sensitive to the energy around you. Your central nervous system is along your spine, but the nerves themselves go all the way out to the fingers and to the toe tips. And as you awaken to the field of your energy around you, knowing that it's at least 6 feet, probably closer to a couple miles, that your heart's energy can reach, you want to start to be more sensitive and live in that heightened state of awareness so that you know how your energetic field is moving into the world around you. All of these things, you can find so many benefits in your meditation practice that will carry with you into how you go day to day, moving throughout your world. So sitting is so important. Up on a chair, up on a cushion, widening your base so that as you roll forward, there's a connection down and out, just like the roots of a tree. Then the spine itself can undulate in a spiral. It can arc and sway side to side or make those figure eights along the vertical axis. And then just push from the middle out to allow your heart energy to start to feel more light, more radiant. And light as in literally the sunshine or the glow of your own ambient center, but also light as in buoyant, as in airy, free, and spacious inside your body. Now, trust me, if you don't feel that way today, and if you haven't ever felt that before, it does take practice. But I do promise, and I always like to say results, not promises, but the action of going in every single day and just pushing out a little bit old patterning, welcoming in a little bit more space, it will ripple and momentum will build into this feeling that suddenly you become lighter, younger, more vitalized in your body, as opposed to entropic or heavy or victim to the gravitational forces of our planet. So let's take one more big stretch up, reaching side to side, opening up from the inside. And before we talk just a little bit more, just close your eyes for a second. Let the edges of your lips just lift slightly to the sides in a smile and lean back into yourself. And maybe the physical body has already started to talk. Maybe you need to get up and move around already. But just for a moment, before we get into a longer meditation, allow yourself to sit with what is. Often this is the most challenging. Just getting your butt in the seat, taking the posture, making the effort to greet yourself, to let everything be as it is without the micromanagement, without the control. And what you'll notice is the next natural step, the breath. Let your eyes open again, and then we'll talk just a little bit more about the breath and about how this is a gateway into your 5D self. I really believe this. Let's talk about the ribs themselves. Inside this container of your bone and muscle are your vital organs, the lungs and the heart, constantly pulsing and pumping and massaging each other in a beautiful alchemy that they never need to be asked. They never need to be prompted or reminded. They're so selfless in their pulse, in their rhythm, that the moment you turn your attention there, healing happens. Healing, remember, can only happen in this now moment. So if you give yourself that chance to sit down and watch the spiral of your thoughts go inward, The breath almost shows itself with such excitement, with such gratitude that you're with it, you're present, you're witnessing. It already starts to expand. Now, why is breathing such an important part of lightness and moving into this light space body that you have inside of you? Well, when it comes to fifth dimensional being, we have to really look at ourselves from every side, from all angles. It's hard to see your back body. You can't see other than what the mirror shows you in reflection. So it really becomes more proprioception. How can you viscerally be aware of all sides 360 degrees? Well, luckily we have the tool of the rib cage. But most of us have been trained to breathe deeply by breathing quickly. And maybe not you, maybe you've been advancing your own pranayama practice for a long time, but just that really forceful inhale, you can see how it localizes in the top and in the front of your trunk, of your torso. There's a lot of muscle effort that is used in the front of the neck, in the front deltoids, the pectoral muscles, that actually disconnect from all of the muscles of respiration that are a little bit lower. When you start to breathe, and it's not just belly breathing, but that's a good start, to drop your breath down, lower into the body, that allows for the diaphragm, just like the roots of a tree, to drop down and open wide. With the base of your ribs opening out to the sides, right to left, there is at the same time a depth that opens front to back. So you start to see this radial opening, and radial is a very fifth dimensional word, that allows the rib cage to expand from the center point and out in all directions. That's why it's so important to know where the hex center is before you start to try to expand from that point. But if you start to envision what that could look like, what it would feel like for your breath to move wide, back, deep, and forward and upward, but let the forward and upward be the last receiver of the breath, suddenly there is an awakening of what your energy does when you tune inward, when you get quiet, when you sit down. The answer is it dilates. Dilation. It gets bigger. It starts to spread its tentacles and reach its fingertips, its edges, its sensorial awareness out further. And not only are you able to then take in more information, receiving the messages from the world around you, but then you start to get keen to the fact that you're putting out. You're a transmitter as much as you are a receiver. Now, when it comes to thinking about the vertical column and the physical body, even the chakra system itself, I want to challenge you to consider that what traditionally we've been taught in American and westernized yoga for the last, let's say, 5 decades, comes from a book, a 2-dimensional picture or images that are on the page. I studied that for just as long as anybody, and I suddenly began to realize that we were popping into Technicolor. As our consciousness expands, we're actually opening into more and more and more potential that awakens the next dimension, the furthest expression of our beingness. So this breathing, this expansion starting to open radially, it actually moves us into a 3-dimensional experience so that we remember, oh yeah, my chakras, they don't just have the front expression. I have the back of my solar plexus chakra. My heart chakra has the sides. It has a top and a bottom. And instead of just thinking them as 2-dimensional lotus flowers, they're actually 5th-dimensional orbs. They rotate, they spiral, they move in every direction, and sometimes they wobble left, and sometimes they wobble forward. And as you learn to become more aware and keen to aligning that energy, the movement instead goes earth to sky and then can be impactful as it ripples out, as opposed to wobbling and just staying on that 2-dimensional experience. So as we move into this breathing meditation to really work a little more into our breath, I want to take off my image so you don't have to look at me, and I'll put up, Miriam will help me, the seed of life. It's a perfect yantra, a visual place where you can look deep into the center. And especially if you're not comfortable yet closing your eyes in meditation, then you'll be able to have a visual and not get distracted by my face or my lips moving. So whenever you're ready, Miriam, if you can put up the picture of the seed of light. And then again, you, if you're ready to meditate with me, move around. Make sure your seat is wide underneath you. Take the arms out in front of you and allow your eyes to close. And if you want to keep your eyes open, then you're welcome to take a visual and look at the seed of life expression. As I share my screen, I'll show the seed of life. And again, you can just look right into the center of it or allow yourself to close your eyes. Organizing your seat, taking out any physical pain or heaviness first. And watch how the breath begins to show itself, begins to reveal the space inside. As you lean back into yourself, imagine the front of your body, from the forehead, the eyes, the jaw, the nose, front of your neck, the collarbones, just softening. It may feel a little scary or a little hard, but allow your belly to soften. And even dropping your awareness deeper, let your pelvic floor relax. It's okay. It's a safe place to surrender into the earth a little bit more, to let our mother beneath us hold and support and nourish us. And as you're beginning to feel into the field, the sphere of your energy around you, awakening to that reach of your heart's radiant light, let your diaphragm, the bottom of your rib cage, soften down as you draw the breath in. The belly will expand, but so too will the sides of your ribs and the back. Remember, as the arms are just a little in front and you lean into the fullness at the back of your heart chakra, there's more support to be revealed, more energy to be discovered. Keep exploring a wide breath. The deep tends to give us muscular effort where we pull the breath in with the muscles of the face or the shoulders. A wide breath. Imagine, if you will, that you're breathing in through your gills, through the sides of your ribs. And keep softening at the face, the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, by just nudging yourself with those gentle reminders to relax the surface effort and to awaken the real power that lives at the core, your heart, your lungs, the deep center of the solar plexus. And just watch where perhaps the breath gets stuck, where it won't push into or expand into the boundaries. And be not judgy, be not critical of those places, but rather grateful that you've discovered a little more of you. Take this moment to breathe the bottom left lung away from the bottom right ribs. So that X diagonal line from the bottom left front to the bottom right back. And just feel how on that diagonal you can expand those 2 points away from one another, letting the base of the ribs keep opening in a radial way, all directions. Now put your attention on the back of your left ribs, the bottom left, and expand the bottom of the front, the right ribs. Again, just feel those 2 points on a diagonal across your midline moving away from one another. The The back, bottom left, widens behind. The front, bottom right, widens ahead. And somewhere in between, you meet your center. Soften again through the belly, through the pelvic floor, soften through the eyes. And then allow those 4 points from the middle out to move away from the center. As the breath draws in, watch your base ribs expand 4 points away from the midline. The front left, the bottom right. The front right, the bottom left. Meeting that X marks the spot middle point. The space between. The suspended center that is so hard to access. Watch your breath for 10 cycles, expanding from that middle point out, and even begin to explore the awareness of all 360 degrees as your ribs expand, radiate, push into a further expression of lightness. A quiet moment, keep the breath going, and be the witness to the magic inside. Your patterns of pulling the breath in will be revealed. Soften, allow, and with compassion, let your breath go deeper still. Moving less from the surface edges, accessing more the deepest, dormant potential, just waiting to be awoken, to arise to the moment of now. 3 more wide and deep breaths. Just noticing the challenge, the struggle, the resistance, into the space, the path, the movement. It may be short, it may feel quick, but we'll end this moment. We'll begin again in a meditation for a little bit longer, but always noting when you complete, allow yourselves to really complete the cycle. Bring your hands together in a prayer, bow your chin to your chest and say, this moment is complete, and with gratitude, I'm ready to move forward into the next. So I like to add those visual expressions, the yantras, as I said, of the seed of light, and just allowing yourself to use that as a visual representation of focus. Even though it's outside of you, it brings the attention to a still point. And while you're still taking information in from the front, from the visual, it gives you a little bit more sense of space and presence in the middle. So we're going to go into a longer meditation, and again, I'll have another visual for you, but I want to explain what we're really working with and why in the toroidal field, in this 5th dimensional expression of our own body and our own capacity to not only be the receiver of the universe's love and guidance and wisdom, but to also be the transmitter. Now, this is crucial in a time like this, where it seems like we're all sort of standing on the precipice of some very unknown destiny, very unknown in the future of what's to come, and it feels almost as if we're alone in that journey. Something like the Freedom Cell Network, or the tribes that are starting to very much on a grassroots level connect and coalesce. What's happening is our transmission is becoming more clear. Our intentions, our purpose, our heart's desire, and the evolutionary urgency of our human experience is becoming so much more important that we're finding each other. Our tribes are starting to form with so much more ease. And it's because our energies are getting way clear. We're noting, you know what? I don't want to play in that matrix anymore. I don't want to participate in the natural 3D or the 3D world that's so unnatural and inorganic and so artificial. When you really open up to your practice and you allow yourself to turn into the quiet spaces of stillness and feeling and honest looking, there's so much more to explore here than you'll ever find in the outside world. But what's crucial is that this transmission tower of your energetic bubble starts to call in like-mindedness, similar hearts, radiant spirits that are on the same page as you. So when we open the body, especially the heart and the ribs in that 360-degree way, we'll start to feel into the sphere of our own energy, how we impact, how we show up to the world, how we arrive in any moment. But if you understand the toroidal movement of energy, and I'll show you an image of this in a minute, you can even imagine, just like the chakra line, that vertical axis, energy flows up through the central spine, through the crown, and then up and out, circling around you, and then meeting again below you in your lower earth chakras so that it can rise up through the base of your pelvic floor and up again. Now the energy can move the opposite way. The descending current or the manifestation current brings ideas into reality and allows the energy to circle this way, down and out and wide. And then the ascending current, the idea of ascension and giving yourself that sort of more light body, more space body, less physical, less dense, that moves the energy up. And there's no real wrong or right, or you're not ever feeling, if you can't quite feel those movements just yet, you're just beginning, or you're just inviting that inquiry that they will change. The idea is to let every single meditation, every time you sit down, let the energy reveal itself to you rather than you trying to go in and manipulate. That's very important for you to be the receiver. To sit and to breathe is the actions, is the simplicity. What actually becomes a little bit more challenging is the ability to receive. That's not to say that you can't have a good idea or you can't feel into some guidance or wisdom. But many of us have a hard time actually receiving the unconditional love. Some of us are still on the fence that we can trust the unknown or have faith in the universe. And so when we start to hear messages or when we start to let that energy flow, there's almost a block of resistance in that you need to be more in control because you know best. You, the ego, the identity, the 3D physical self. Well, our heart opens, we begin to witness the surrender of any manipulation or force or control, and our toroidal energy starts to move. And it's moving constantly, but when we sit and we breathe, again, all of this energy that's inside of us starts to reveal itself. And we'll move through the pain body by allowing our spine and our four corners to adjust and make space. We'll move through the emotional body as the breath starts to become more clear, more free, more open in all directions. Then as we start to receive, we have to really notice the mental body that wants to chatter, that wants to sort of control and compartmentalize, and instead let the energetics of your mental space start to get so quiet and so still that you're not adding any more pebbles into the quiet lake with your thought processes, but instead you're just witnessing the ripple effect of your presence get more still and more quiet. While you're creating this reserve of your physical bubble around you, it's incredible the energy that starts to flow, that perhaps ideas, memories, creative sparks, those little alignments become so almost overwhelming. You want to get up and write them down, but the idea is to simply trust the process. They'll still be there after your 10 minutes, after your session of sitting and breathing. Trust that all of those energies that flow are simply just there, and they've been there waiting for you to explore the space inside of you. Keeping us moving into this fifth dimensional expression, it's really crucial because, again, we stop relying so much on the external validation of our world around us, and we open up to the unknown of what is still to come. And we will be the magnet. We will be transmitting a signal that will draw to us our destiny. And you are the creator of your own world. And whenever you sit down and you take that space, you show the universe that you're not just willing to be pulled in any direction. You are the anchor of your own life. You are the authority, and you create your energetic field. So watch this image if you want to have, again, a visual representation for where to look, or you can close your eyes. There we go. Miriam's got it. Thank you, love. This is the toroidal energy. So the way that the movement, the field, the sacred geometric shape around you forms is starting first and foremost from the inside of the central column. You can imagine how spacious it is on that vertical point. Give yourself a moment to close your eyes if you're comfortable, or really look deep into the image. And again, open your base, let your spine grow in an upward suspension, and lean back. Closing your eyes once more. Feel first the action of your body in stillness, sitting right here as it is. Allow the breath to move side to side, wide, front to back, top to bottom, deep. As if you're carving out and molding the inward space to be more spacious, hollow, not empty, but poised with potential for the energy of earth to rise and flow upward, the guidance of sky to descend and drop downward, and for the alchemy of the two to meet right at the center of the fire in your belly, right at the altar, the hearth of your heart. And as you allow the stillness to become the normal, quiet to be comfortable, trust that there is no need to micromanage anything here. There is something much bigger at work, much more sincere to your journey at play. Let your eyes soften, let the jaw, the neck, the shoulders, the belly, the forward-facing parts of you to relax just a little. No need for identity. No need for superficialities or masking to show the world who you think you should be. Close off the outer world for a moment and witness who you really are. We'll stay together in this quiet place for about 7 minutes, breathing, witnessing, and in the simple act of sitting down and not moving, receiving that which was meant for you and you alone. Just breathe with me here and witness the magic within you. Keep moving your breath deeper, wider inside. Witnessing the energy from the base of the hips, the earth rising, awakening from a dormant space, uncoiling in a serpentine way, undulating upwards, spiraling inside of the axis, the column of light. As you feel that energy growing and writhing, thriving to its fullest potential, it pushes through the blockages, the brick walls, concrete ideas, or the hardened traumas. And in its wake, leaves the stillness, the quietness of what is still to come. As the signal of your own nervous system sends out the clarity, commitment, and the intention to the universe, you can too at the same time witness the sky, the energy of the cosmos dropping down and far above you through the 1,000-petal lotus of your sensitive crown, coaxing awake the third eye, the intuitive space of inward vision, clearing out the path for your throat to communicate, to speak, to vibrate with clarity. You feel that beautiful marriage at the heart. Keep expanding your breath, 360 degrees. Witnessing the bubble of your own field, your auric power, pushing out love, unconditional acceptance, compassion, curiosity for more. Stay in this suspended space as you breathe. Receive the magic from the mystery of it all. Everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. I have everything I need. I am everything I want to be. We can make it complex. We can add confusion, distractions, frustrations, memories. We can pull ourselves out of the moment anytime we choose. We don't even have to think of it consciously. So at first, the conscious alignment, the steady devotion feels like slogging through the motions. When you give yourself that practical practice of sitting, the breath will reveal itself. The magic happens. It's every single time when you allow the breath to open to the inner realms of you, healing will take place in the only moment that it can happen, right here, right now. We all need a little healing, a little love. Sometimes we have pain in our physical body or pain in our emotions, our mental thoughts. And so today was just an introduction. I could stay with you for hours and keep exploring and peeling back the layers, but the simple, practical steps are the most important, and they will take you, I promise you, to the advancing levels of your own dimensionality, your own expansive spirit that is just calling out to its like-minded hearts around the world, but truly calling you to come home. I want to offer anyone who's here and enjoying this to go a little bit deeper with me for a one-on-one pain body assessment, right? So if you're feeling pain in any level, physical to emotional to spiritual, we'll do a little 15 to 20 minute chat on what's the blockages, what's stopping you. And this is from my heart to yours. This is all free, to just give you a moment to be seen and to be received so that you can practice receiving yourself. A little love, a little healing, a little insight, maybe a few tips and tricks to help make your day flow a little bit easier. We bring magic to the mundane in the way we hold our body and the way we move through space and time. So allow yourself to just explore a little bit deeper. I'll send the link is on the bottom there. Miriam has it posted. I'll put it in the Telegram group, and feel free to share it. If you know somebody who's in pain, if you know somebody who could use a realignment and a remembrance to their own power, this is the time. This offering goes through the end of the year, and I'm offering another event on the solstice on Tuesday night. So reach out to me soon, and if you leave your voicemail, I'll be in touch with you shortly. I couldn't be so more grateful to have joined you all this morning, and so grateful for Miriam and Derek and everyone in the Freedom Cell community. And I can answer any questions if there's anything that pops up. Otherwise, thank you all so very much. There she is. I can't hear you.
Thank you so much, Susan. That was really lovely. I was following you the whole time, and I could just feel my body loosening up. And I love how you showed us how to sit properly to just open up the channel. That was very, very good. I feel much more comfortable in my sitting position now.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. I didn't see any questions for now, but if anything comes through, it'll come through to the Telegram, and we look forward to chatting with you more, connecting with you more, and I will share the links on Telegram and through the emails. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
for your
Miriam.
service.
Appreciate you all so much. I look forward to more in the future. Namaste.
Namaste.